The Professional Forecasters Survey, which is sponsored by the Reserve Bank, has projected gross fiscal deficit at 3.9% of GDP in the current fiscal. The survey has made annual, quarterly and long-term forecasts on inflation, GVA growth expectations and the rupee. Ritu Singh has been poring over the details and she joins us now. Ritu, what is the survey saying?
Well, to begin with, growth will be higher in this year at 7.4%. This is GVA, which is what the RBI looks at basic prices. And next year, that GVA growth is projected to rise to 7.8%, which, remember, is even higher than RBI's forecast of 7.6%. Fiscal deficit that we've been talking about all evening for this year is likely to be met at 3.9%. But next year, the government may miss its fiscal deficit target, with the deficit expected at 3.7% of GDP as against 3.5% that the government has been targeting. The combined deficit, fiscal deficit that is, of the government, central and the state governments together is expected at 6.4% in this fiscal, and the next year that may improve to 6.2%. That is according to this survey. As far as the quarterly forecast figures are concerned, CPI inflation will remain RBI's projected target of 6% by March 2016, but next year inflation worries may resurface because this forecast says that CPI inflation will be at about 5.3% levels by March 2017, which, remember, is higher than RBI's target of 5%, which may, remember, tie its hands when it looks at further monetary policy easing. The rupee is also expected to remain stable against the greenback at 67 to 68 against the US dollar by Q3 of FY17. The medium-term growth and inflation forecasts have been maintained, so medium-term growth for the next 5 years is maintained at 8%, and the CPI inflation for the next 5 years is also remain unchanged at 5%, but growth and inflation for the longer term, that is 10 years, both of those have been lowered. So growth has been lowered to about 8.2% from 8.3% projected in the previous round of forecast, and inflation is also likely to be higher, and that is predicted at 4.8% for in this for the long 10-year period from the 4.7% predicted earlier. So all in all, the macro indicators point to better times ahead, except for two sticky figures, which is inflation, which may be higher than RBI's forecast, and fiscal deficit, which is likely to be missed for the next fiscal.